What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Aquaman. And so here we have Aquaman posing out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually run through his accessories really fast. Aquaman only comes with one accessory, and that is the Trident of Queen of Atlanta. And then he also comes with the McFarlane display base. Other than that, we don't get anything else with Aquaman. So let's actually take a closer look at his details. And so here we have a closer look at Aquaman. And I'm not going to lie, McFarlane did an okay job with the head sculpt. I can see some instances where it looks like Jason Momoa, especially from this angle and from this angle, but for the most part, it kind of misses the mark. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the way the hair sits on the figure. Jason Momoa pretty much had like really full hair, and this one kind of has like a slicked back with his hair down, and that kind of throws off the illusion of the Jason Momoa Aquaman. Also, he is missing the highlights in his hair, which it's probably a combination of the paint apps aren't so great on the face, the hair isn't as full, and the highlights are missing, and I feel like the beard is too thick. In Justice League, you did have Aquaman with a beard, but mainly this part of his beard was thick. Everything else was a little bit neater. I guess you could say on this side it kind of looks as it should, but on this side it seems a little too full. So yeah, that's pretty much what's throwing off the look of this figure. And for the most part, the neck is really long on this Aquaman. I don't know why he has such a long neck. I should try to pop the head off and see if I can't put that head a little bit lower. But yeah, not the best likeness, but it's good enough. It looks like the character from a distance. Up close, you're going to really notice it. So, having a look at his costume here, I know what McFarlane was going for. You can kind of see it, but it's kind of too messy. There's not enough green on the costume. Now, it is molded in a jade green, which is accurate to the movie, but they kind of went a little overboard with the copper tone. In the movie it was supposed to be a gold, but it does look copper here, and it's supposed to look something like this right here on the arm, where you see the highlights are the only thing in copper and then the green shines through. Here it's really hard to see the green through all the copper. They kind of like did a dry brush all over it when they should have only dry brushed the high points and left the green exposed. That's another thing that's throwing off the look of the figure, but the sculpt work is phenomenal. I can always say McFarlane comes through on the sculpt, especially right here on the shoulder pad and the armor. Looks so crisp, looks so nice. But the paint scheme is a little bit off. I think right here would probably be the best way I can describe how the paint should be. You can see the green poking through right here, and then just at the high points we have the bronze or copper color. That's pretty much how it should be. Like this copper or gold, whatever color it's supposed to be, should not be right here in the green part. It should just be at the high points, not the low points. Like right here we have another instance where that should be green instead of this copper color. So yeah, that's what's throwing off the look of this figure, is that it's mainly in this copper color where we really don't see too much of the green like we should. Here on the Gauntlets is another perfect example. They kind of did the right thing here. You see the high points have that copper color, but then these low points also have the copper coloring in them, and they shouldn't. It should be more like this right here rather than this part. If you guys know anything about painting, you know what I'm talking about, like the highs and lows. Any raised parts should be gold. The lower creviced areas should be green. Like all this should be one color, because it is a high point. But yeah, that's what's throwing off the look of the figure, at least to me. I know a lot of people don't like the way this figure came out. For the most part, it does look really nice. I do like it. I do like the color that they went with on his hand wraps. That looks really nice, and they did color it on the inside as well. We do have the Atlantean emblem right here going on to the back. You can see right there as well. And then more of that really nice jade green. It is a little bit of a shame that they covered it up so much with this copper tone. Like here you can see a discoloration. It kind of looks gold here, it looks copper right here, and then it looks bronze right here. There's no consistency in the paint, and that's what's really hurting this figure. If it was either all gold, all copper, or all bronze, it would work, but because we do have different colors here, it kind of hurts the look of the figure. At least they did a really good job on his boots here. You can see all this really nice detail, really sharp. Despite this being soft plastic, the sculpt work on it is really nice. And one thing about Aquaman is that his gloves, or his gauntlets and his greaves, they are soft plastic, so they are pliable and they do get out of the way when you're trying to pose them. But overall, still liking the way he came out. They did a really nice job on the sculpt work. The paint is the only thing that this figure suffers from. On the Flash, we had a lack of paint. This suffers from too much paint. Like, if they had dialed back the coloring and the dry brushing just a little bit, this would look so much better. But it is what it is, unfortunately. But Aquaman still looks really nice. So, with that out of the way, guys, let's actually have a closer look at how he stacks to other figures you may have in your collection. Here we have Aquaman posed next to Marvel Legends, Cyclops, and the DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have Aquaman posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure in the Mezco 1/12 Collective, Popeye the Sailor Man. Here we have Aquaman posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger in the Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. And so here we have the McFarlane Justice League Aquaman posed next to the Mattel Justice League Aquaman and the Mafex Justice League Aquaman. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually have a look at Aquaman's articulation. Now, he does have a double ball joint in the head, and he can look up to about right there. He can look down, which is surprisingly well, but something might be wrong with mine because I can't get his head to tilt at all. Like, I can have it tilt to one side, but it doesn't want to tilt to the other side. You can see it wants to return back to neutral. I don't know what that is. Maybe that peg is turned when it shouldn't be. We'll have to take his head off and see what's the problem there, but his head should tilt and it does rotate left and right. Arms are on ball joints. They do go out to the side to about right there. They are on ball sockets, so they do pivot forward and back. They do pivot up and down, and of course they do a full 360. One thing I do like is that his armor is soft plastic. Everywhere on his torso is made of soft plastic, so the armor does get out of the way as you need it. But unfortunately, it's connected right here at his torso. Now that works going out to the side, but when you bring his arm up, that kind of looks ridiculous. I would have liked to see this armor attached to the bicep because that's the way it should be done. But moving on to his articulation, he does have a cut at the bicep, which it doesn't really look all that great because it's just a straight cut. We do have a double hinge at the elbow. His gauntlet here is a soft plastic, so you don't have to worry about that getting in the way because his arm does move up and down. We can rotate that to have an in and out movement, and then it does rotate on that pin. Now, his abdomen articulation goes back about, let's put his arm down, about that far, and then goes forward that far. He pretty much stays in neutral at all times, and then he can rotate left and right, turn left, tilt to the side. We get some more movement right here at the lower torso and very little at the bottom torso part. So yeah, he is a little bit hindered in articulation at the torso. Side to side, no problem. His waist here, or his waist articulation is pretty good. Although just like with Flash, they kind of made the wrong cut. There's a really nice cut here at his chest that they could have made, but they brought the cut all the way down here, and that kind of helps in hindering articulation more than helping. So moving on to his legs do kick forward to about right there. Really good movement. They don't at all kick to the side, so I do like that. Out to the side, no problem. Now you can see that his crotch piece does get in the way of the articulation, and that's because the way they molded it, they kind of made it seamless with his leg. Now that helps with articulation, but you can see it does get caught as you move it, so do be conscious about how you move it because you might end up crushing it between the joints, so be aware of that. We do have a really nice thigh swivel here on Aquaman, so that works really good. Double bend at the knee, no problem. We get some really good movement there. We do have rotation at the foot as well as a hinge that goes back and forward quite a bit. We can give him a true rocker ankle because he has a forward facing pin and the rotation here at the ankle. And then of course we do have a very generous toe hinge, although it's a little stuck on mine, but it does move after a while. So overall articulation is pretty standard that we've seen on McFarlane. Could always be better, especially here in the abdomen. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get him posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the McFarlane DC Multiverse Justice League Aquaman posed for my final thoughts, and overall, McFarlane has done a really good job with the detailing on this figure. However, I do have to point out that the paint application and the articulation is rather lacking on this figure. Where Flash was missing paint, I feel like they went a little bit overboard on the paint with this figure. All the high points on this figure should be a gold color and the low point should be that really nice jade green. However, we really don't see that on this figure because they kind of overdid the copper or the bronze, whichever color they went with. It really does affect how the figure looks, and rather than looking gold and green, this looks more brown than anything. And again, that's mainly because the high points and low points are covered in that bronze color that they went with. If they had done just a little more subtle, it would look so much better, but they really did go heavy-handed on this figure. Not saying that it's a bad figure, it's just not what we've come to expect from McFarlane. The details are all there with the exception of the head. I feel like this is a huge misstep by McFarlane, and they could have done so much more for this head. Though it does resemble Jason Momoa from some angles, for the most part, it really doesn't look like the actor, and I do gotta take points away from McFarlane there. Aquaman here would have been a really excellent figure if it wasn't for those missed details and the head sculpt. Another place where this figure might suffer from is the accessories. Even though I do like the fact that he did come with his mother's trident, it is a really bulky, big, and heavy accessory, and it really doesn't look right in his hand because it's so massively thick. It looks a little bit weird, but overall, it's still a really nice figure to have. And if you are completing the McFarlane Justice League figures, you do need Aquaman in your collection to complete the team. Aquaman here will run you about $19.99 with tax, and that's at all retail except GameStop. GameStop seems to be charging $25 for these standard figures, which is quite a bit, but I picked up mine from Amazon. It did take them 2 tries to ship it to me. When I initially ordered this figure, they did accidentally send me a McFarlane style Batman, which I promptly returned, and they sent me this as a replacement. So thankfully Amazon was able to fix their mistake, and I do have Aquaman here in my collection. So with that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all my other action figure reviews as well as all my other DC McFarlane videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it fits in my collection, I'll gladly have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.